I want to talk about liars. And I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about technology. There's so much buzz around use AI to do this, that, and everything. But what is the point of using a tool when it produces less than desirable results? And when I say less than desirable, I'm going as so far as to say flat out lies. Why are we encouraging people to use technology when it produces subpar results? I would go so far as to say it produces shit results. Not all the time, but some of the time. I want to go into a little experiment I did recently on a video that I created. Now, the video is about users lying, particularly in user research. I would encourage you to watch that after this so that you have a little context as to what I was trying to get done. So here's what happened. I was creating a video on the classic Yellow Walkman story, and I'll walk through what that is in a bit. And I wanted AI to help me write a tight script for a YouTube video. So I gave it a prompt and asked it to write a script for me. And I want you to see what happened as a result. The original story is known as the legendary Yellow Walkman story. And if you are familiar with user experience or market research at all, this story might have come up in your career. So what happened was Sony, who created the Yellow Walkman, wanted to run an experiment. The experiment was not so much about the Yellow Walkman, but more about the reliability of what people say. Again, I have a video on that. You can check it out after this. And what happened was pretty interesting. So people were asked to participate in a focus group for research. Don't get me started on focus groups. You can check out that users live video for my take on focus groups. I do a deep dive on the value of focus groups there. Anyway, I asked a couple of AI tools, ChatGPT and Claude, to give me a script covering the legendary Yellow Walkman story. I'll walk you through what that story is in a bit. So I asked it to give me a script, and I got some pretty mixed results. As you probably also have gotten some pretty mixed results when you used AI. What is so frustrating is everyone's like, use AI as a tool, it'll speed up your process, it'll help you think better, it's great for brainstorming. Well, what if it's inaccurate? What if it gives you bullshit and you don't know any better? This is my concern about AI, but we'll push that aside for right now. Let me tell you what happened. Again, the basis of this was a story known as the Yellow Walkman story. I know what this story is. I wanted to see if tools like ChatGPT and Claude knew what the story was and what it would tell me the story was. So let me tell you what the context of that story is, and then I'm going to read the results of what ChatGPT and Claude said the story was. And you can see the discrepancies between the reality and what AI is producing. I'm sorry, friend, but this is concerning to me that people are using tools like this and extracting the results as if it is accurate. And sometimes it's not. And how are they checking? Woo, okay. Going off on a tangent. Let me tell you the story of the Yellow Walkman. Sony is a company that was making Yellow Walkmans. I'll put a picture here so that you know what this thing is, because it's ancient technology that we don't use anymore. Basically, you're listening to cassette tapes and then later on compact discs as a portable music player, way before our iPhone. Sony was running an experiment. They were running a focus group. Ooh, focus group. I also go into that in that other video. If you want to see me trash focus groups, check that out after this. Anyway, sorry for the tangents. Here we go. Sony wanted to run an experiment, and that experiment was not about the technology, but if what people said actually matched what they did. So they ran a focus group, and as the incentive to participate in this focus group, they were given the choice before they went into the focus group. They were given the choice between two Walkmans as an incentive, a yellow Walkman and a black Walkman. They were to indicate which one they wanted before the focus group, then go through the research study, and then on the way out, they were to pick their incentive. So here's what happened. Most of the people said, I don't have the exact numbers, but legend is, most of the people said they wanted a yellow Walkman. But when they completed the study and they walked out, they actually took a black Walkman, illustrating the point that what people say and what they do don't always match up. So that's the real story. I want to read to you the prompt that I used and what these AI tools gave back to me as a script, or what they thought was the real story of the Yellow Walkman. Okay, so here was my prompt. Give me a YouTube talk covering the legend of the Yellow Walkman and how that was used as an incentive for focus groups. Okay, that's my prompt. I did it with ChatGPT first. ChatGPT kind of broke this apart like an actual script, which good on them. They gave me the format I asked for. It was for a YouTube video, and they gave it in a script format. But as you'll see as I read through this, they give it a little bit more color and context that is not accurate. Let me read it. Host Jen. Picture this. It's the 1980s. Big hair, neon colors, and everywhere you look, people are rocking the latest tech, cassette players. And in the midst of this cassette craze, the yellow Sony Walkman was born. But this iconic device holds a surprising lesson for user experience research, one that's just as relevant today. Let's dive into the legend of the Yellow Walkman and explore the UX questions it raises. Let's pause there for a second. I don't know that I would label what Sony did as user experience research, but I'm not going to get caught up in the semantics. We can call it that, whatever. And I don't know that I really need to set the context of it's the 80s, it's big hair, it's neon colors, and it's more than just a cassette player. It's a portable cassette player. So that's a nuance that I feel like GPT lost and gave us inaccurate information. Okay, moving on. Let's set the stage. Sony Walkman was revolutionary, portable music on the go. The yellow model, it was marketed as rugged, sporty, and waterproof. It wasn't just a cassette player, it was a lifestyle accessory. I don't really know the marketing campaign behind the Yellow Walkman, but I'm going to call bullshit. I don't know that it was actually waterproof, and I don't know it was labeled as a lifestyle accessory. Maybe it was. So I'm just calling like half bullshit because I don't have the details and the facts to back up if this was accurately how the Yellow Walkman was marketed. All right. Transition. Split screen of Jen speaking and old footage of a focus group from the 1980s. Well, I'm not going to find footage of that probably, but thanks for the suggestion. Nice call. Jen. Here's where it gets interesting. Sony conducted a focus group to test reactions to its new, bold design. They assembled participants, showed them the Yellow Walkman, and asked them, hey, do you like this Yellow Walkman? The response, overwhelmingly positive. This is not accurate. The study was not to gather feedback or perceptions around this Yellow Walkman. I don't remember what the study was about, but I know it wasn't that. It was not about the Yellow Walkman. So this is a flat out lie. Why should we use technology that lies to us? This changes the concept to me of the whole story. This is a lie. And it's funny, it said, hey, do you like this Yellow Walkman? That's really funny to me that they put that question in there because that is a very specific question. Do you like this? That my original video is about, saying don't ever ask this question because people cannot predict the future and they lie. So it's interesting they put this question in here, would you use this, when my other video is in fact partially around don't ever ask that question. Wow. Okay, next part. People were enthusiastic. I love that Yellow Walkman. It's so sporty. Man, I'd rather have a sweet Yellow Walkman instead of a boring black one. The feedback was glowing and the researchers were thrilled. Again, total lies. The study was not about getting feedback on the Walkman. They don't know how the researchers felt because they're making this up. This study was not about that. Transition, a moment of suspenseful music. Jen leaning forward. Okay, I like the suggestion. That could be kind of cool. But then came the twist. On the way out, participants were offered a Walkman as a thank you gift. They could choose either the traditional black model or the sporty yellow model. 2 piles of Walkmans were set up by the color, 1 black, 1 yellow. Cut to dramatized reenactment of participants leaving, hesitating, and reaching for a Walkman. I didn't make that part of the video. Don't got time for that. Next. Jen, guess what happened? Despite the enthusiasm for the yellow Walkman in the focus group, every single participant chose the black Walkman. Not one person chose the yellow one. Wow, this is not true at all. What's not true is that the enthusiasm of the focus group was not about the yellow Walkman, and this is saying it was. And so this is very frustrating if someone didn't really know that the point of the study that Sony conducted was more about seeing if participants were going to be telling the truth rather than the study itself. Wow, this is really inaccurate. It's lost the nuance of the value of this story. And that's really frustrating. If you didn't really know what this story is about and you reported it this way, you would look like a fool because this is completely wrong. Okay, now I want to walk you through what Claude had to say. Now, what was interesting, the same prompt that I gave for GPT, I gave to Claude. I'll give it to you again. Give me a YouTube talk covering the legend of the Yellow Walkman and how that was used as an incentive for focus groups. At least Claude was a little honest and said, I can't write YouTube scripts. Okay. I don't know why Claude can't write YouTube scripts, but it thinks it can. So we'll move on. Claude also gave this response. Additionally, I'm not familiar with the specific legend about a yellow Walkman being used as an incentive for focus groups. If this is based on a real story or case study, I'd be happy to learn more about that from you. And then I kind of prompted, like, give me the story anyways, just to see what it said. And here was the results. Back in the day, Sony was considering launching a sporty yellow version of the iconic Walkman. Like any responsible company, they gathered a focus group to test the idea. We'll stop right there. That is not the point of this focus group. The yellow Walkman was already launched. It was already out there, so they were not trying to determine some sort of market fit or interest for this product. It was already out there. Lies! The room was buzzing with enthusiasm. They don't know what was happening in that focus group. So some more lies right there. I love that yellow Walkman. It's so sporty, one participant exclaimed. Again, don't know what happened in that focus group, so it's making up a direct quote. Wow. Others chimed in about how refreshing it was compared to the boring old black one. Again, making up quotes. This is ridiculous. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Marketing executives were probably already calculating their bonuses. Well, wow. This is assuming a marketing executive was in a focus group. I don't know how often that happens. Usually it takes a little bit of time for the results of a focus group to be synthesized and then sent to the executives to make a decision. So pretty presumptuous that the executives were actually in the room during the study, which they probably weren't. But then someone had a brilliant insight. As the session wrapped up, they set up 2 tables by the exit, one with black Walkmans, one with yellow ones they'd just been raving about. Each participant could choose one to take home as a thank you gift. Here's where it gets interesting. Every single participant, yes, every single one, chose the black Walkman. Well, I don't know the specifics of this study and how many took what, but I don't know for sure that every single person took a black one. I don't have the numbers behind that, but you see the point. These are lies. They are nuances that have changed the narrative and changed the reality of the story. And because I knew what the real story was, I knew the parts that I was not going to embellish upon and add to my script talking about this original story. And I just want you to think about that for a minute. Do you have enough context, accurate context, to pull information like this and use it forward? Are you doing the right thing? Are you producing more lies out there just because technology gave you that lie in the first place? I know we sugarcoat it and call it hallucinations or whatever, but I just really want to take pause here for a second. I want us to be ethical and be accountable and thinking about the results that we could be creating by dispensing inaccurate information. I know I'm sounding a little frustrated, and that is because I am, because this is happening all the time. And people are just taking shortcuts and trying to go faster, and they're not taking not a moment to pause and think about, am I doing the right thing? So please, when you're thinking about using AI and you want to pull information from it, I want you to pause and make sure that you are not contributing to the problem of misinformation out there. Make sure that you have enough context and accuracy in what you know to match it up or correct what AI tools are telling you. That's my ask of you. Please move forward in an ethical manner when using AI for any user experience research or sharing information or just content creation, anything. If you're sharing any information, please move forward in an ethical, informed manner. Thank you so much. Bye.